What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the College Loop Podcast, episode 71 of the College Loop Podcast, and an episode where I'm actually well rested. If you go watch episode 70, I was tired. That was a 7 a.m. recording right there. If you
Yeah, I
could
can't relate to the whole having energy thing. I'm making my own. It's an energy manufacturing plant over here.
Yeah. And just to get everything started, Daniel, how you doing?
We're making it. Disappointed that the baseball season's over, but hey, now we get to relax. So I'm not really too sad, to be honest.
Relaxing is a relative term.
There's no relaxing. Sports are a year-round thing, no matter what sport ends at any given time. But here's the thing: with baseball season ending, basketball season waiting for it, Tarr, guess what? It is always recruiting season for football. Right. So just to get right into that, Auburn picked up yet another transfer. Just going to start with this, then we're going to get to our nice little list going on. JUCO defensive back Chancellor Anthony, who, fun fact, has two nicknames. He goes by Champ and also the Pirate. So,
okay, Champ is a classic, right? We're going to dissect this real quick. Champ's a classic. I don't think I can call anyone the Pirate yet. I'm not ready for that.
Yeah, because Mike Leach.
I actually don't know if I'll ever be able to do that again, to be honest with you. It's an awesome nickname. I love Pirates. Yeah. Pirates, I mean, that Mike Leach was onto something, guys. But I think that forever the Pirate is just going to be Mike Leach in my heart. And that's one I'm just going to have to respect that that's what you grew up with. But I think it's going to be Champ for me.
Yeah, and it's like how I'm always going to be Tank and not Tank Bigsby at all, correct? Is that
I don't even like that analogy.
Yeah, it's not a fair one. I was just
I'm in a little bit of a testy mood, so let's not do that.
Yeah, but coming from Tyler Junior College in Tyler, Texas, played in 4 games last season where he had 14 tackles, which is 3.5 a game for all you math geeks out there, and had 1 interception, standing at 6'1", 176. Watch a little bit of the War Report to kind of get if you've ever tried to watch film on JUCO guys, unless you have access to the film from the colleges themselves, it is impossible to find it. Ike Jones said, I think he's going to be playing a little bit of safety for Auburn, maybe a little slot corner or nickelback. And from what I did see, he has a huddle. So thank God for that.
Thank God.
Where 6'1", 176, he plays way bigger than he is. He gets right up in. He's with the linebackers whenever the ball snapped, most snaps. So yeah, just overall, I underrated pickup. He was not rated by 24/7.
I need to go watch film. I haven't watched film, and for me, this is a long time. I think 5 days. So I'm doing what I can here, making do. But I like your analysis, and from the breakdown that you give me, and the I guess dissertation that you've given me. This feels like a solid fit. So I get it.
Yeah, Ike Jones also referred to him as a ball hawk and a willing tackler, I think were the 2 things that he said. And I really like that short and sweet analogy of him.
Dylan said, I read the Spark Notes and I was happy.
Yeah, or the Spark Notes. Like, I can work with this. I can work with a little analysis. And to get into other, should we do top 5 important games now, or should we just...
Let's round out news and then let's do top 5 most important games.
All right, there are 4 people that are up for the 2024 College Football Hall of Fame. And start off with the players. We have Takeo Spikes, Greg Carr, and Ed King. I couldn't tell if you were dabbing for him or if you were sneezing. But bless you, by the way, Tarr. Takeo Spikes, of course, if you've been around Auburn at all, you, of course, know who Takeo Spikes is. SEC Network analyst, played in the NFL. Probably had the most illustrious career of any of these people, any of these players currently on the ballot in the NFL. But career stats for him, 268 tackles, 13 for loss. Of course, went round 1, pick 13 to the Bengals 1998 draft. Yeah, but Takeo Spikes, monster.
Also, probably the host of what was probably the best Auburn football hype video in stadium of all time.
Oh, TikTok. Oh,
there's a reason it has transcended time. As I put my man bun in. Yeah, sorry, Mom. I know you hate this, but he feels like a clear choice to me. Like,
oh yeah,
it feels like a no-brainer. Like Takeo Spikes should be in. And also, just like side note, he's just like it's impossible to not love him, right?
Oh yeah, I remember the video with him and Brian Dawkins.
Yeah,
it's like, I love B. Dawkins. But I think Takeo Spikes, if I had to rank like people that could make me run through a brick wall, Takeo Spikes is 1 or 2.
Sure.
And it's between him and Ray Lewis. So middle linebackers know how to pump me up for football. But also, speaking of linebackers, Greg Carr. Fun fact: he's now a surgeon. I believe he's a.
Isn't that not wild?
Yeah, he retired from the NFL to do it as well.
That's kind of awesome.
Career stats. Thank you, Wikipedia, by the way, for having all of his stuff right there. They could not find Takeo Spikes anything. Career stats: 289 tackles, 9 sacks. In 1984, he won SEC Most Valuable Defensive Player. He was a consensus All-American. He was also an All-American in 1983. 3-time All-SEC, Auburn Football Team of the Century, Auburn Football Team of the Decade in the 1980s, and, of course, in the Alabama Sports Hall of Fame in 2008. So, all around, pretty good resume for Mr. Greg Carr.
Yeah, solid. That could work, right?
Oh, yeah. And I think that alone gets him right in there. Last player that's up for the ballot is Ed King, an offensive lineman. Couldn't really find a lot on him. He only really played 2 seasons, but he was a consistent All-American in 1990. So that's pretty good. I think he went round 2 in the 1991 NFL draft to the Browns, if I'm not mistaken. I know I read it like 30 minutes ago, but that's definitely what happened. And then the last guy who is available for the 2024 College Football Hall of Fame, Tommy Tuberville. The senator. And I have to look. There's gonna be a deep dive to go find out. Maybe one of the only coaches that have also been in the U.S. government and the College Football Hall of Fame.
I mean, I think that he probably should earn the rights to be in the College Football Hall of Fame. Actually, yeah. Tubbs actually had a pretty successful tenure in Auburn, which kind of slips through a lot of people's minds a lot. But
he's 10th all time in SEC wins as a head coach.
Yeah, I think that this one's kind of a no-brainer. But side commentary here is that the funniest thing in the world to me living in Alabama was watching a former football coach get elected as senator because he was a football coach. That's just really funny. People can come at me sideways. Objectively hilarious.
If you can beat Alabama 6 times in a row,
I was about to say, if you can beat the Tide, you can.
I think it earns you a spot at least.
Work on the hill.
Yeah, but looking at him 10 years at Auburn, 85-40 was his record, 5-3 in bowl games, which is probably the best out of last 3 coaches, I believe, 3 or 4 coaches at Auburn. And 04, of course, is where he got his bread and butter in terms of awards. So the AFCA Coach of the Year, AP Coach of the Year, Paul Bear Bryant Coach of the Year, SEC Coach of the Year, and the Walter Camp Coach of the Year, all in 04. And there definitely should be a national championship somewhere sprinkled in that resume, but that's neither here nor there. That 04 season, yeah, that definitely should have been a national championship team.
I mean, retro. Yeah, no, I'm not going there.
And the last bit of news before we get into our nice little ranking of most important games on the Auburn schedule. Former Auburn offensive lineman Caleb Kim to be on the 20th season of The Bachelorette to win the heart of former Auburn grad Charity Lawson.
That's awesome. That's actually like that. This is the hardest hit. Why do we not lead with this?
Dude, this is the title right there.
I mean, that's your clickbait.
Yeah, stay tuned for the College Loop where we're going to do live reactions to the
Bachelorette. That's our off-season content.
But yeah, dude, it's like a match made in heaven, right?
With all my spare time, I'll make sure I do
that. And of course, this is, I believe, Auburn's second girl on The Bachelorette that I can think of.
The Bachelorette series. I think it's this is the first female because it's The Bachelor, so it's the first female contestant, right? Oh yeah, no, second on The Bachelor because Pilot Pete and that whole cringe scene on the basketball court. That happened.
Wait, good Lord, I forgot that happened. I forgot that scene.
Yeah, her and Maddie Pruitt.
Yep.
Elite company. Coach Pruitt's daughter at that.
But go Caleb Kim. We're rooting for you.
Is there gambling on The Bachelor? I gotta know.
There definitely is, right?
There's gotta be, right?
They bet on everything. There's gotta be. I'm putting all my marbles.
I'm gonna find out if you can gamble on The Bachelor, and then we are collaboratively as the College Loop. We're gonna place a bet under the College Loop name for The Bachelor. It's
gonna be really funny watching the Caleb Kim episode where he gets to take her on a date to Auburn and see if they can kiss at the lathe.
Oh God.
See if it fires or not. Because I mean, they're both Auburn grads, so the lathe matters to them a lot. So,
yeah, I mean, yeah, true. I mean, I've never partaken in that tradition, but yeah.
Scared it's gonna fire?
I mean, love you, babe. For context, my girlfriend's also an Auburn alum, so there's that.
And believe me, Tarr does believe in the superstitions. We would not get within 20 feet of that freaking seal until we were graduated. So,
And I smoked a stogie right on top of it afterwards.
but yeah, to get into our list of the top 5 most important games for the 2023 schedule, first year of the Hugh Freeze era at Auburn. And did y'all make a list, or are you just gonna unanimously go with mine?
I mean, you know how list
It's a
making goes.
basic idea.
Let's
I'm
see.
just gonna
Let's see. I've got the season schedule in front of me, and I was kind of running through it mentally when you texted me earlier, and then had some stuff hit me. But I have been thinking about this today.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna go through my last little bit because I a lot of them are a little notable. My last game is New Mexico State.
Okay.
11 is Samford. 10 is UMass. 9 is at Vandy. 8 is at Cal, which I think could be argued for some of the other ones above it.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
Actually, no. Go ahead. I'll save it for mine. Sorry.
Yeah, week 7 or number 7. I got weeks next to it as week 9 versus Mississippi State. Number 6, I have at Arkansas, and then that leaves the top 5. Which
Okay.
starting at number 5.
Daniel, go ahead and interject first.
Well, I'm not gonna waste everyone's time and give you the bottom half of my list. I just want to say the UMass game will mean a lot more to me than it will most Auburn fans. It's a very personal game for me.
The UMass Minutemen, right?
Yep.
Minute women, depending on the sport.
But in this context, Minutemen.
No. I'm playing. Yes.
I was like, what the hell?
That wasn't nearly as funny as I thought it'd be.
Yeah, sometimes I do that too. It's funnier in my head, and then I say it on the
Yeah,
podcast, and
yeah.
it doesn't land.
The soccer team's the UMass Minute Women.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
All right.
Now it's just awkward, but yeah.
Starting at number 5, I have week 8 game versus Ole Miss.
Okay.
I was going to argue with that one. Of course, that one's going to have the most drama around it because, Hugh Freeze was a former coach at Ole Miss. So that one's just going to be like that. And
That's 5 for you?
That's 5
All
at
right.
Jordan-Hare Stadium.
Actually, now that I'm looking at my list, I agree.
Yep.
Mine's completely different from yours, but I agree.
Yeah, I'm sure we probably have the top 5. I'm pretty sure.
No.
Coming in at 4, well, same teams, right?
Nope.
Different teams.
Mm-hmm. Continue.
Ooh, at number 4, I have Georgia at 4.
Okay, we took completely different routes here. I'm going to let you finish out your list, and I'll explain mine.
All right, number 4. I mean, it's the second game on the schedule, SEC wise. I have it here just strictly because I think it's going to be a losable game, a very losable game for Auburn.
Thanks.
So I think that makes it a little bit less important. But if Auburn could find a way to win, I think it does say a lot for the team. At number 3, I have at Texas A&M. Hugh Freeze's first SEC game back in the SEC. And, of course, he's traveling to College Station in a game where Jimbo Fisher might be coaching for his job the whole of next season. And then at number 2, I have at LSU. And I think that just speaks for itself. Former SEC West champion from last year. You're back in Death Valley. Auburn's on a 1-game win streak in Death Valley, in a place that Auburn has found it very hard to win against LSU in Death Valley, in at least my lifetime. At least I think I've seen Auburn win once in my 23-year lifespan. And of course, my number 1, the Iron Bowl. Sure. I think no matter what year it is, that game is always that game is always going to be number 1, no matter what. First game, first year under Hugh Freeze, you got the Iron Bowl in your stadium, and Auburn makes it pretty hard to play in that stadium a lot. If you go back 2020, with the 2021 that was in Jordan-Hare, 2020.
2021 was in Jordan-Hare.
2021 was in Jordan-Hare. You go 2019, of course, a lesser Auburn team took down that Bama team. 2017, Auburn was a team of destiny that took down Alabama. 2013, of course, first year under Gus Malzahn, took down Alabama in Jordan-Hare Stadium. So yeah, that's my top 5. Tarr,
I'm interested here. I mean, I think we're unanimously going to agree that Alabama, the Iron Bowl, is the most important game on the schedule. And in terms of things, I think we took a different outlook. And I'm not saying either one of us is right or wrong. I think we just kind of interpreted this question a little bit differently. In year one under Hugh Freeze, I think that there's a couple games Dylan's just flat out going to call me stupid for that I think are actually extremely important. At number 5, I do have Ole Miss just for the obvious reasons that this is getting to be chippy every year. And also if Hugh Freeze can go out and also against his former school, like you mentioned, and take care of business in that regard, that helps. But also you effectively silence anyone that still remains that thinks that Auburn should have pursued Lane Kiffin over Hugh Freeze. I mean, it's personal reasons for him for sure, but also there's the element of kind of the battle of the transfer portal, right? In terms of not that Ole Miss was hanging with Auburn per se this year, but really what is the destination to go to right now? And because Ole Miss has really kind of found themselves on that short list, right?
Oh yeah,
for transfers, and it's always about recruiting, right? And especially in a year that you're going to consider a rebuild, go and call this one a rebuild, guys. And no matter how successful Auburn is, this was it's labeled a rebuilding year. After that, I've got the Cal game at number 4.
I don't hate it.
I know that you're not putting a ton of pressure on this one. It's a non-con, but it's a Power 5. I understand the state of Cal football. I really don't get ESPN's FPI. I think Auburn's going to lose that game. I'm kind of mind blown on that regard. But it is so important to go undefeated in your non-conference slate. I mean, it is unbelievable how important rather, that was easy for me to say, important it is for you to go undefeated in your conference league. There's 4, in theory, free wins, right? Not free. Cal's not free. Cal is that early non-conference pre-SEC season contest that you get in week 2 of the year. You're going out on the road. It's going to be Pac-12 after dark. You have to win it. And I think it's super important there. So I go beyond that. And then you start getting your usual candidates. I think that at number 3, I've got LSU and Death Valley. That's super important. You sneak away with the win there. Any of these next 3 games, which you guys are already going to I've already figured out who number 2 is by process of elimination. It matters more about how competitive you are in these next 3 games than it does about outcome, in my opinion, in year one. Schematics and improvement wise, they have to show signs of life. In order: LSU, Georgia, Alabama. I know that Georgia is, I mean, you can say what you want about, whatever team, whatever state the quarterback situation is at Georgia. They're going to be good. They're going to be fine. If you can compete with UGA at home, you've got a much better outlook coming down the SEC slate. LSU's the given because you're playing, in my opinion, probably the toughest road opponent in the SEC, not named Auburn or the Swamp. People forget about how damn loud Florida is, but the loudest hostile environment you're going to go to and on your slate is Death Valley, and we expect them to be a good team this year. It matters how you perform there. It matters that you don't get the doors blown off you by Georgia and Alabama, for that matter. I'm not even necessarily chalking those as wins. You never know what happens when an 8-win team goes in against Alabama at Jordan Hare. I mean, that's where Nick Saban teams go to die. But all this to say, if you are competitive, and I mean, I'm talking about a couple plays go your way, you just get out talented a little bit in that slate of games, you have a really good selling point. Not just that Hugh Freeze is the answer long term, but as for 2 recruits, hey, we're almost there. Come help us get over the bubble. That's where I'm at. Daniel, your thoughts?
Okay. So I've got Cal at number 5. Kind of like you said, this is your chance to go out into another market and basically plant the Neil Armstrong flag on the moon and be like, this is the Southeastern Conference.
I love that analogy. That analogy.
Thank you. That's what I do best. We're going to come in here and we're going to, this is our land now. And it's also good for recruiting. Because it goes out there, you get to put Auburn on the radar in the Bay Area. I know California is one of the best states when it comes to football recruiting and all sports recruiting, just because there's so many people out there. And that's mainly in Southern California, but still, gives coaches a chance to go do some visits, all that good stuff. So I just think that's an important, just not only game, but week in general.
Sure. I agree completely.
Good. It's always good to get the Harrison Tarr approval. Makes me feel like I'm doing something right around here. Number 4, like I said, I didn't make a list. I'm just kind of freeballing this. We'll go Arkansas for number 4. Road game. lost to them last year. Going to be a decent team.
Could be the end of the road for Sam Pittman if it's not the end of the road for Sam Pittman already.
Yeah, I feel like Auburn finds themselves in these situations all too often to where, like, obviously Hugh Freeze won't be, but to where another coach is coaching for their job against them.
Well, that happens in the SEC in general.
That might be happening twice this year. Sam Pittman.
I'm thinking like Les Miles in 2016, Ed Ogeron in 20. Maybe it's just an LSU thing, but yeah, that's number 4. At number 3, we'll put Ole Miss.
Okay.
I don't have anything to say that hasn't already been said. Number 2, LSU. I don't know. Maybe one of y'all said it. I was just kind of zoned out. I don't know when the last time Auburn has won back-to-back games.
That's been a recurring theme here.
Right. And then obviously number 1's the Iron Bowl. Always going to be important. There's only been one time where Nick Saban's taken a Alabama team in the Jordan Hare to play a ranked Auburn team and walked away with a win. So, if Auburn just has a typical 8-3 season, they'll most likely be ranked, and then the odds are in your favor from that perspective.
Just out of curiosity, Daniel, I'm interested to get your thoughts here. I'm not disputing any of this. Every single conference game is important, guys. I mean, even the Vanderbilt game is important. Every conference game matters. Is the Arkansas game more important than the Georgia game? You walk me through that.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to win the Georgia game.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree with that at all. I really don't. I'm just curious. Is it just a win-loss thing for you in terms of these are must-win games that you're ranking outside of the Iron Bowl? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I buy that. I think that I
could see us winning the Iron Bowl. We're not going to win the Georgia game.
I don't disagree. I think that that's pretty spot on. I was just curious. So what I can gather here, Dylan, and kind of a little synopsis for those of you who are watching the YouTube version, you're kind of seeing us all kind of use these hand gestures and kind of look perplexed with one another. We took the same prompt and ran with it 3 different ways, which is like kind of on us, but also kind of cool because we all kind of interpreted this in a different way. The way Daniel interpreted it is win losses, like, find those conference games or non-conference games that you got to win and you're one. And I don't disagree outside of obviously the Iron Bowl, but that is just inherently the most important game on Auburn's schedule. Even if Alabama was 0-11 going into that game, would not matter. Outside of that, I mean, I get your school of thought. I completely understand your school of thought. I think that you guys can kind of see where I'm coming from in terms of there's got to be. I kind of took the balance. Dylan took what can be most beneficial to Hugh Freeze in year 1, and that makes perfect sense as well. I think we brought 3 good perspectives here, guys. So I like the way that shook out.
But yeah, with that, Tarr, you want to go ahead and do your little transition to?
Yeah, we'll flip over to the hardwood, and we can talk Auburn basketball. I got a pretty cool question that I didn't even realize we got. Full disclosure, I worked like 81 hours last week at the ballparks, plural. So I am kind of out of the loop right now. I have not been on Twitter in like 3 days, so that's super, super cool. And I did not realize we got a really cool comment. I don't know if you have it. Do you have a little?
I have it right in front of me.
Okay, cool.
All right, so Gregorio Duran has 2 questions for us that we're both going to talk about. I think it's going to be pretty much back to back. Sure. So starting off with his comment, I have 2 interesting questions. The first is for Tarr because I like his takes on basketball. Since Broom has returned, do you see Auburn being a Sweet 16 team and a top 3 SEC program this year?
Well, first off, thank you so much, Gregorio Duran, 3355 for commenting, and thank you for subscribing, hanging out with us here at the College Loop. Really, really excited to have you part of the Looped In family. Second off, great question. I mean, I told Dylan before the show, that's actually a very, very good basketball question. That's tough, right? I think that this is let me back up. This is not an unrealistic expectation. I think that a Sweet 16 berth is entirely possible with this team. It's way too early to see. Do I think that Auburn has the talent right now with Janai Broom coming back, and you're adding the likes of Aiden Holloway, Denver Jones. This roster, I kind of gaslit myself the other day and convinced myself that Auburn was going undefeated and pulling the whole Kentucky procedure, except for they're going to win the national championship instead of lose it. But I don't think that's crazy. We talked about that last show that I was on last Thursday and talked about Auburn really could be jockeying for an SEC regular season title this year. I think that there's a couple other teams are going to be good. I think Kentucky's going to be solid this year. Dylan's not sold on them. Daniel, I don't know where you stand. I think Alabama, we see a serious drop-off this year. I'm not out of the moon, seriously over the moon, seriously considering them to be in the conversation. Tennessee, I will never count out a Rick Barnes team just because they are always right there, right? And then you look around the rest of the league, everyone got better. Buzz has got something cooking at A&M. Arkansas, holy shit! I mean, I'm transfer portal you. I'm not hating that. That gets the job done a lot. And Auburn certainly went to the portal and got better, in my opinion. I do think this team has the pieces. It's a matter of, are the X's and O's better this year than last year? And that's not me saying, oh, Bruce Pearl sucks at X's and O's. I think he's extremely average at X's and O's. But did he assemble the right staff around him? And now it kind of falls down to we think coaching. We don't know about how this team's going to mesh together. We don't know about the decision making of these guys. If we're going to see all these guys in the winter, who knows? Things can change. All that to say, kind of long-winded answer. If that's your expectation, I don't think you're shooting for the moon. I don't think that you're delusional, and I certainly think that that's very plausible. I expect Auburn to be a second weekend NCAA team, so there's your Sweet 16, right? And I do expect for them to be jockeying for that regular season SEC title. We know what they do in the SEC tournament outside of 2019. It's never impressive, but that just seems to be the general philosophy for Auburn teams as of late, is the SEC tournament is just a place that Auburn teams go to die. But I think it's possible, guys. What do you think?
Yeah, and you look at this team from last year. It was an expected down year for Auburn basketball, and you go into it and you see that Auburn got to the round of 32. Well, what's after the round of 32?
Sweet 16.
So Auburn was just one win away from doing what we were not expecting them to do. And if you watch the little video that Auburn basketball tweeted out, them enjoy the little lake day on I believe Lake Martin with Bruce Pearl,
which was awesome, by the way. The memes write themselves.
And KD Johnson himself did
running out of gas.
Running out of gas on a jet ski in the middle of the lake.
Beautiful.
And of course, going absolutely crazy playing cornhole.
That was awesome. That whole video was awesome.
Chemistry's there. And again, I like what you said. I definitely does go straight to the coaching. I think is going to be and I'm blanking on the name. Not Chad Baker. Who is the assistant coach that he just hired? Oh my Lord. I'm blanking.
I'm going to let you try to figure this out.
Yeah, I almost said Chad, but I was about to say Chad Baker Mazzara. Yeah, that too. I was also thinking of him. But yeah, we talk about the roster all the time.
It's Corey Williams, by the way. But
Corey Williams. Did I say Chad Williams? I definitely said. So I just had the first name mixed up.
Yeah.
But we look at the roster all the time. I mean, you go into the season and Aiden Holloway that's starting at the 1, Denver Jones at the 2, Jalen Williams at the 3, Chad Baker Mazzara at the 4, Janai Broom at the 5, and again, the transfer portal is not over yet. That all could change very soon.
I think it's close. I think it's close to being closed.
I think it's close, but there's a Bay Hall. We talked about him last week as well. Arkansas transfer, who could possibly come to the Plains. I've not heard a lot of traction on it though. I would not put any money on it. It's just a possibility. I think he would probably be at the 5 to give Janai Broom that 4 spot. But then the Auburn bench becomes one of the best ones in the SEC in general.
I mean, I think it already is.
Yeah.
I mean, we talk about this year after year. Bruce Pearl's teams being deep. Auburn's team should have been deep last year. They had 2 guys super banged up that we had high ceilings for, high expectations for. And how often do a 4-star and a 5-star or 2 5-stars just not pan out? Like, what the hell? Like, it sometimes it happens, man. I mean, it just kind of is what it is, right? And Johan Traore wasn't what we thought he was going to be. He got a little banged up. And then Chance Westry. I mean, that might be the biggest what if in a long time in Auburn basketball. Truthfully.
Oh, yeah.
Outside of, I mean, like, what he could have been at Auburn, not like the what if Sharif Cooper would have stayed in Isaac Okoro and the super team and the undefeated season in multiple national championships. Neither here nor there.
But yeah, looking at it from that perspective, I think Arkansas is going to be going to next season your number 1 team.
You're clear favorite.
Yeah, and I think Auburn makes an argument for either that 2 or 3, but I think this also going to be a season where Auburn's going to be very underrated.
I think the best thing that could happen to Auburn, real talk, is you're just looking at Auburn's basketball. If you get picked to finish 5th in the SEC, you can go ahead and book a really good NCAA seed.
You're not wrong. And again, talk about the little. I think you're going to expect a down year from a couple of programs that had really good years, or in this case, Kentucky. Alabama, I feel like it's a little bit of down year. I think Kentucky's a little bit of a downward spiral. A little bit because Oscar Shigwe is staying in the draft.
I'm not ready to say that with the talent that Kentucky brought in. I do think that we're all here to talk about and see Kentucky anyway, so I don't know why I feel bad talking about them on the show. But they had a really good recruiting class, and Coach John Calipari, whether you love him or you hate him, and if you love him, I need to talk to you because I need you to explain it to me.
I love him.
Good. We'll talk about it later off the show. Love him or hate him, the dude can flat out recruit. Now, is he a clutch time coach? I don't think so. But does he know how to win an SEC regular season title? Yeah, he's pretty damn good at it. So, I mean, that's a team I think you're sleeping on a lot, Nolan.
I think I like to think that I'm very fairly honest with my opinions on Kentucky basketball.
Sure.
And I'm blanking. I wanted to make the joke so bad, but I cannot remember his name. The guy who made Auburn's win over Kentucky in Neville Arena null and void because he got hurt. Is it? Oh my lord.
Ty Washington.
Yeah, Ty Washington.
Ty.
There you go. Yeah.
I didn't. It didn't click to me. I'm so tired. It didn't click to me. And you said null and void. I was like, who is Nolan Void?
Yeah,
that dude is not a real basketball player, my man. You were playing 2K, like.
It's a great 2K name, though.
You just came up with a 2K default player, and instead he went to Kentucky. Like,
well, to move on to the Diamond, we got another great question by Mr.
Daniel, please explain Calipari quickly.
No, I mean, I was just kind of offended how I didn't even get asked if I thought Auburn was going to be a Sweet 16 team.
You think Auburn's going to be a Sweet 16 team?
Yeah. I mean, he's good at his job and he does it the right way. I don't hate people who are good at their job.
That's the greatest answer I've ever heard.
What?
Daniel going, I got offended. I didn't get asked if they were going to be a 16 team. And then goes, yeah. Also, John Calipari is really good at his job.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't. Being a Boston sports fan, I see people get hated on because they're good far too often, and it's just annoying. You know?
People don't hate John Calipari because he's good. They hate him because he's a jerk.
Okay, that's fine. If you're good, you can be a jerk. All right, I rest my case.
I don't disagree. Let's move over to I actually, Daniel's right. Yeah, that's correct. Nick Saban's been doing it for years.
It's like when people suck but they're a jerk, those are the people I hate.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be honest with y'all. I'm an Auburn fan, but I love Nick Saban.
I mean, I do too, but he's a jerk.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's go over to the baseball diamond real quick and let's talk and give our grades. We're going to start with Daniel. So we
good. I don't have to wait on this one. I'm playing. Okay.
Season grade.
This is actually hard. This season is multiple chapters, you know?
Yeah.
The early part of the year, F. The late part of the season, A. Postseason, D. So for me, it averages out. I'm going to give it like a C. You had the makings of a storybook season. You shot it away. You didn't have the pitching, so I'm going to cut you some grace. So C.
You know, I don't hate that. I'm going to give him a B minus. I'm actually a little more generous here. Excuse me, hiccup. I might have another one coming. We'll see. I did. Anyways, so speaking of Kentucky, right? But I'm going to cut a little more slack, Daniel. I'm with you. The early season F. I mean, really, really bad. And then coming down the stretch, I mean, shit, A plus. Coming down the stretch. Let's not kid ourselves. I mean, that was crazy what Auburn did coming down the stretch. And then you go to Hoover, and yeah, Hoover happened, and Hoover exists. And then you host regional, and you lose your regional, which is awesome. You lose your regional on Saturday, by the way. Awesome. I cut some slack because there's no JUCO. That was a large part of this team being so anticipated. Is you're going to have the arm of Gonzalez, and he's going to be your Friday night guy, and he's going to be able to throw, be a 6-7 inning guy that's going to go long games, punch a lot of guys out, and really get you guys on the right foot. And honestly, in my opinion, if Joe goes healthy the entire season at 100% what Joseph Gonzalez is capable of doing when he's going to the MLB draft, he's not even announced yet. I'm just telling you right now, he's going to the MLB draft. I think Auburn wins a shitload more baseball games. I really do. I think that Auburn never struggles with the whole trying to make it to 500 in the SEC play. I think that even those series where you struggle to put together one win, I think a lot of those flip to 2 wins. And who knows? Maybe you mess around and you sweep LSU and or South Carolina. I mean,
I think you
this
also win the Bama series with Joseph
you
Gonzalez as well.
absolutely win the Bama series with Joseph Gonzalez. One player does not a baseball team make, but he can win you a game if he's a starting pitcher. And that's kind of where I'm leaving this at. Now, do I have a pretty sour taste in my mouth that Auburn had to sit there and watch 2 teams that were not them on Sunday on a regional that they hosted after making such a hard push to be a regional site host? Yeah, but these things happen. I mean, they do. I mean, it happens to everybody. At some point, it's your turn.
And you know what makes it even worse?
Enlighten me.
The school that the less this how do I say this nicely? The school in the state that the people that have less going on and here go to got to host and did very well. It kind of felt like the basketball season.
It did. I mean, and I'm gonna go ahead and tease what we're gonna have to talk about later this week, guys. That's kind of the tale of the tale, of the year-long Iron Bowl this year, right? But as far as baseball goes, guys, I have to give some credit to Butch Thompson. I mean, and I know we're gonna talk about him again in a second. That dude's he's just incredible. I mean, this group, he never gave up on them. They never gave up on him. Even when nothing was going according to plan, they didn't really stray away. They made adjustments, and did it take a little longer than maybe we wanted it to? Sure. But do I ever doubt that Butch did not actually have a plan? No. I think that he did have a contingency plan the entire time. Evidently, he did. And I can't bring myself to give it a C just because of the tremendous comeback that was the end of this year. So Dylan, I'm interested to get your grade.
Yeah, and I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to go with the B- as well. I think just how the season started off at just a low point in Auburn baseball. You were predicted to finish, I believe, 5th in the West, 6th in the West, I believe.
Correct.
And then at one point in the season, I think in March, Auburn was ranked like 14th, like in every power ranking possible. And then all of a sudden, a spark emerged from the team, and they made the push for the regional. And then, baseball is very much a hot or cold game. The teams that are the hottest and that do the best. And it seemed like Auburn got very hot, and they seemed to temper off a little bit as the SEC tournament came around. And I mean, we could have predicted this if we had not been a little bit more of a sunshine pumper than we were at the time. Just because at the time in the SEC tournament with I believe it was the Vanderbilt game or Bama game, really, you kind of saw everything kind of falling apart at the pitching. And I mean, you go into the regional, you were in a must-win scenario, so you threw in your best pitcher, and Tommy Vale had his worst performance since I want to say March.
And Tommy's been lights out.
Exactly, he gave up 5 runs that game. And I think just how the season started and just how it ended up, Auburn had to host a regional. And whether or not Auburn didn't get to play on Sunday or Monday, they got to host a regional. And I think that earns them the B spot strictly because of all the odds were against them. And again, Butch Thompson just did the impossible with the team that should not have been there.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
And I think that earns them the B spot.
Speaking of Butch, let's talk about another great question we got from a familiar name, and let's see if you have a plan for it. I'm sure you do. About Thompson. I'll let you read this one, Dylan. I kind of really want to go first.
Yeah, you're going to go first for this one. If again, Gregorio Duran, 33-55. If Butch makes it to another College World Series, will he be considered the greatest baseball coach in Auburn history? Tarr, you going to take the floor?
Daniel, buckle up because I'm probably going to need you to bail me here. Guys, I kind of think he already is. I know that is crazy, and there are going to be people coming at me with torches and pitchforks, if that's still a thing that people do when they mob. I don't know. I've seen the cartoons. And saying, no, with Hal Baird and 9 NCAA appearances. And Hal Baird, fantastic baseball coach at Auburn. You look at the guys that Hal Baird brought through, and that is just mind-blowingly nuts.
And he's really good at speeches about Frank Thomas, too.
Yeah, he gives really long ones and a little off-color ones. It's interesting.
Oh yeah.
But Hal Baird, I mean, fantastic. And if you look at other names, I mean, Paul Nix, yeah, he coached over 800 career games and won 515 games in Auburn. I mean, it is actually remarkable. Some of the names that have come through and the consistency Auburn had up until really the retirement of Hal Baird. And then you obviously went through Renfro, Slater, Pulowski, and then God forbid the Sonny Galloway years, which anyways, we won't even talk about that. But I think that I kind of think Butch is already the best coach in the history of Auburn baseball. And I say that because it's full steam ahead from a program that was, for all intents and purposes, dead. And he has turned this team around in a way that is truly remarkable and made them perennial contenders, regardless of how the season starts, how the season is going. They have a clear vision of it's not how you start, it's how you finish. Now, granted, this year's whatever. But when we say whatever, you hosted a regional again. And it's kind of like going back to what we're talking about basketball, right? Like the state of basketball. Baseball is remarkable. Like your down years, oh, we hosted a regional, we lost our regional. Like, yeah, that sucks. In theory, that shouldn't happen, right? But like I said, eventually it's your turn. And if that's the standard for Auburn now, and you don't think that Auburn's the Butch Thompson, first off, is unequivocally the best head coach on the Plains right now, that's the camp I'm in, boys. That's the camp that I'm and the hill I'm going to die on. Especially with Greg Williams being retired. This hill I'm going to die on. I actually think it goes him, Bruce, then Graba. By the way, just throwing that out there. I don't know what you're not getting other than the fact that you're just looking back and thinking of the names that Hal Baird produced. And yes, I think Greg Olson's a phenomenal human being. Yes, I acknowledge that Bo Jackson's pretty damn good at everything. But I mean, the list goes. I mean, Hudson. I mean, like it just.
I was waiting for the Frank Thomas.
Frank Thomas, but Hudson too. I mean, just like tons of names. And you already mentioned Frank Thomas. This is why I didn't want to circle back, but
he's earned the double mentioning.
Wait,
look at Butch is doing something with nothing. Go on, Daniel.
The best coach at Auburn University right now is not on a field, a court, or a diamond of any kind. He's on the links, and it is Nick Kleinert. And I will not accept any other answer because Nick Kleinert is the best golf coach in the country.
Okay.
Yeah, and just to talk about, just to go into the Butch Thompson conversation, just so we're not overdoing any time constraints. Looking at it, this is again Wikipedia. I'm using Wikipedia as my record and everything, and well under half the years, Paul Nix coached at Auburn for 22 years, 515 wins, 4 NCAA tournament appearances. And if you go by the years, I'm pretty sure Paul Nix had the majority of the Bo Jackson years because he stopped coaching in 84.
Yep.
So Hal Baird would have gotten a little bit of Bo Jackson because, of course, the NCAA constraints because the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Right.
Shout out them. Yeah, but 8 years for Butch Thompson, and he's made the NCAA tournament and half of his coaching years at Auburn. Half.
And he's hosted back-to-back regionals. I mean, Daniel, I'll put aside that argument with you about best coach on the Plains right now. That's actually a great headline conversation for us, by the way. Just putting that out there for summertime off-season stuff. I think he's unequivocally. I just think that Butch Thompson's unequivocally the best coach in the history of Auburn baseball. In terms of sample size we got right now. I had someone ask me about a blank check a few weeks ago. And I said, I don't like blank checks. I don't like that concept. 8 years with whatever number feels right, that works for me. I don't think I'm being crazy.
Oh no, and I like how you said that. I think Butch Thompson has definitely done more with less because again, if you look through the names that Hal Baird has recruited and has had, all have been stars wherever they've been.
And I know that he's operating in a space where he has the transfer portal, he has the NIL. It's a little bit different. I get that. Look at the homegrown talent. Let's look at the homegrown talent for just a second. Casey Mize comes to mind. Tanner Burns comes to mind. I mean, first off, the pitching under Butch Thompson has been spectacular. I mean, look at Burkhalter and Skipper just a year ago, right? I mean, and then coming in, bringing in guys like Armstrong right now. I mean, and then you go out and you convince these guys like Ike Irish to come to the Plains, and then you go to the transfer portal and you get guys like Sonny DiChiara. I mean, like the list really continues to grow. And Eduardo Julian's tearing it up for the Minnesota Twins right now, and he was homegrown. Butch Thompson was like, "Yeah, you're pretty good. We're gonna take you." Like, I don't really know what else people need to see other than player development and continual success. And the fact that Auburn is just, quite frankly, just never out of the conversation, regardless of what the scorebook says. It's unbelievable.
I would love to see a year where Butch Thompson finally gets his like Frank Thomas, Greg Olson, Tim Hudson type player. And when you think about it, Ike Irish, if he does what they said in the SC tournament and he starts to turn those doubles into home runs, I think he's going to be real special in the next coming years.
I think that there's a lot of guys on this team that could really be.
Well, for sure. Joseph Gonzalez decides to stay for another year. He could have a real good bounce back year.
Chris Stanfield,
of course.
Dang it, you beat me to it.
I mean, it's the answer's right there, right? Like that kid. Shit, that kid's gonna be good at baseball. I mean, he's good now, but he's gonna be a phenomenal college baseball player by the end of his career.
I just love watching him play.
It's effortless.
He's just got that traditional outfielder build of being very, very fast, but still up 280 to 300 capable hitter easily.
Yep.
I just love Chris Stanfield.
And Butch's ability to just find the right guys and know that he's not going to lose them to the draft is unbelievable. I mean, it's crazy. I won't listen to other arguments. Sorry to the Hal Baird stands. I think he's already there.
And I mean, another thing, maybe this got said, I kind of dozed off for a second. The culture that Butch has built is incredible.
Great point. 100%. I mean, holy crap at the buy-in from the fans now. Auburn fans, I'm not taking shots. Don't get me wrong here. But what Butch has built, not just, I mean, look at the outfield, right center field, right? I mean, building a culture where students are like, oh, we got to go to everyone's going to the baseball game. When we were an undergrad, Dylan, I mean, it was really, really it was weird for our friends to not be going to the baseball game on Friday night. Like, it was it's the place to be. And it's not
throw in Operation Atmosphere, like a place where students can do what college students do, because not taking shots at the parking deck, that's an older crowd plus me and Tarr.
Yeah,
like that. That's the demographic you got in the parking deck.
100%. But it was cool. Like Operation Atmosphere was a fantastic idea. Butch is like, yeah, let's make it the place to be. And like we were saying, Dylan, it was the place to be on Friday nights. And I'm not just saying there's nothing to do. There was plenty of things to do. It's just the place to be. And the boys were good. The boys were good, but it was a good product. It was always fun to go watch. You knew you were in it all the time. And then you throw in the additions that he has really kind of demanded out of the university, and they can't say no because he's so damn good about improving Plainsman Park and the
one
amount
of those. One of those I gotta talk about as a diehard fan of the Boston Red
You're
Sox.
so excited for the monster seating.
Wall seating. There's only one monster, but I'm very excited for the
the one green monsters, of course, in Auburn, Alabama.
Oh, shut up. Fuck off.
Yeah. I mean, there's that. And then look at the amount of season tickets. I mean, they sold out of season tickets until what was it? The Mississippi State. No, what was after Mississippi State? Until the Mizzou series. I don't know. Something's crazy late in the season.
Yeah.
Single game tickets were not available without being on resale. That is nuts. That's stupid.
And
it's
did
awesome.
Did Hal Baird ever have a pool in his right field?
That's true. I mean, shout out the guys that brought the inflatable pool.
Yeah, I don't know. I need a video on how they actually filled it up with water.
I actually know Harrison on Twitter, like the guy that did it, and that is freaking awesome and so funny. And maybe we should just get him on the show. Like, I think he would come on.
Yeah.
Like
it's been too long since we had a guest,
but it's super fun now. Like Daniel, you bring up a great point about the culture thing. Auburn fans have always supported Auburn in every sport. I'm not downplaying that whatsoever, but it is really cool to be on talking to other alum or talking to students now or going on campus and people are excited. You see more Auburn baseball gear than you've ever seen before, and see people like, oh, like I'm really excited for this weekend. We need to go ahead and stake out our spots tonight so we can have good berm seating tomorrow.
There will be a line down Donahue of students waiting to get in.
It's
great,
awesome, and I think a lot of that is Butch's ability to just say, hey, we have something special building. We want you to be the part of it. We do it for you, and he's one of those guys like a Bruce Pearl that knows how to connect with the fan base, and they do it very differently, very very differently. But also, they're both very good at the way they convey themselves. That's my long-winded answer to yes. I actually think that Butch Thompson is already the greatest coach in the history of Auburn baseball. Daniel, tell everybody where they can find you. Love you. Support you.
You can find me on Twitter at Daniel J. Locke. Support my written work at the Auburn Wire. Been doing a lot of great recruiting stuff and a nice little story on Senator Tuberville and his nomination for the College Football Hall of Fame. Hopefully that goes well for our beloved 6-time Iron Bowl winning head coach. 6? Yeah, 7. 7.
7 time.
6 in a row.
6 in a row.
6 straight. I'm Harrison Tarr at by Harrison Tarr on the Bird app. If you want to check me out, I literally have not been on the app in a few days. And this time it's actually just because I keep forgetting to go on there and I have absolutely no free time. So that's super, super fun. If you want to check out any of the cool digital content that my team's got going on over at the Make and Bacon, I've got a fantastic creative team right now behind me, and I cannot shout them out enough. We've got so much cool stuff going on. And I'm actually really, really proud of this work. So if you want to check us out, that's at Go Make and Bacon. If you want to come out to a game, DM us on Twitter or on Instagram, and we can make that happen. Hook up the College Loop VIP experience trip to the Make and Bacon. We can make that happen. Otherwise, you can listen to more of my work right here on the College Loop Tuesdays and Thursdays until further notice. I would love to get back on the Sunday show. I play baseball. My team plays baseball every Saturday night, so we will see how that goes. Dylan, it's all yours. Get us out of here.
Yeah, of course. I'm Dylan Larck at your boy the Tank on Twitter. And if you want to go follow us on social media, you got us on TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, and of course, YouTube and Instagram, all at the College Loop. And of course, if you want us on MySpace as well, you got to get to 1,000 subs. We are getting very, very close. And by very close, I mean we're about 700 subs away. So get us there and we'll go to MySpace. And if you want to listen to us, of course, you guys on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Amazon Music. We are, again, I think around 30 to 20, something close to Daniel having to do a TikTok dance.
We're close.
We're getting real close to it, and we cannot wait for it enough. But, of course, with all that being said, it's been the College Loop Podcast. And I did not have the ending up. So this has been the College Loop Podcast.